Let's move on to the fifth game we're going to discuss here, looking at Big Ten, Ohio State at number 24, Wisconsin, 9 p.m. Eastern time tip on Peacock. Point spread, Wisconsin minus 4.5, juiced in their direction, total of 149. KenPom projects this one at Wisconsin minus 6. I will say
it's out too.
Yeah, it's down 2 points. Max Klesmit didn't play against Minnesota, so I do think his status is baked into this number a little bit, one of Wisconsin's most efficient three-point shooters. On the flip side, this to me might be my favorite spot on the board, and I'm looking at the road dog with Ohio State.
Wow.
Wisconsin's last 3 games. You want to talk about shooting splits that are due to regress in the opposite direction. Wisconsin, in their last 3 games, including a blowout win over Minnesota at home on Friday night, shooting over 48% from behind the arc. Their opponents have shot 33%. Now, I know Ohio State's three-point shooting was due for regression overall when you look at non-conference play, but it has kind of collapsed, and they've lost 2 of their last 3 games. So you can make the case that they're back to the mean at this point. There may still be a little bit of in anybody's regression model. If you want to say there's room for a little more of a free fall, fine, I get it. But if Klesmit doesn't play, or even if he does and the market bumps this thing up a little bit, Wisconsin's home court advantage is going to be mitigated by the fact that students aren't back on campus yet. They're not back until the 21st. So this isn't your typical Kohl Center game for Wisconsin. And Ohio State coming off of 2 out of 3 losses 2 losses in their last 3 games, a bad loss at home against Oregon, good Oregon team granted, but a blown second half lead. They have the matchup advantages when you look at their offense, ball screen action when it comes to the lead ball handler, so somewhat isolation defense. Wisconsin struggles, especially when you get that ball screen action against Bruce Thornton potentially and this Ohio State backcourt. I like Ohio State here to keep this one close, if not win the game outright. Ohio State needs a quad 1 win when you look at their resume.
Yeah.
A borderline tournament team at this point.
Truly. It's crazy, especially when you're ranked 32nd in KenPom. We have them ranked 48th. So usually when I'm taking a peek at stuff, that's not even enough for me to be like, all right, I'm a little concerned. So I think that's pretty accurate. Wisconsin a little higher up at 19. I'm flabbergasted by the shot quality expected spread record for Ohio State at 2-14 though. So that's a little scary. I'm probably not betting Ohio State. I would lean Wisconsin. I'm not going to bet it. I would need a very, very friendly number, and I'm not getting that.
What number would you need?
4.5, 5, probably.
Okay.
4.5 I would 100% be betting it. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, I think this is a pretty fair line. 6.5, 7 is probably where I'm at, I like the over. That's how I'm going to approach this game. You're very correct. The Wisconsin defense absolutely overperforming, absolutely looking better than they are. And that means an opportunity to expect more points. You have the 15th best offense in the nation in Wisconsin for shot quality going against the 82nd best defense in the nation in Ohio State. They are supported by their strong offense. Wisconsin is supported by their strong offense. Tempo here, both above median in the nation, and expecting both teams to see a little bit more scoring on defense. Ohio State and both teams expected to have 3-4% more 3-point scoring against them, and both teams expected to score 8% more on mid-range shots. So yeah, give me the over. Give me the over in this one. A little contrarian. Big Ten games tend to like to go under. But we've seen it this year. I think the talent in the league is improving. I think it's becoming a little bit more jump shot-ish. And KenPom does have like those really good numbers to sort of tell on the conference. So the efficiency in the Big Ten is 12th, but the tempo's 3rd. The effective field goal's 9th. The 3-point attempts actually 21st, but that tempo, they're just blazing. These teams are absolutely just firing. So and they're efficient from inside the arc, and then that's enough to drive totals over. And the free throw percentage is at 73. So it's not exactly the highest, but it's still high enough that these teams are going to make free throws. And they're also, both teams are going to foul close to 30% of the time. So, yeah, expecting a likely chance that we see a potential home win. But yeah, I do think this is an over spot.
If the mid-range point, I like that you brought that up, because if Klesmit plays, he's dangerous in that from that area of the field, that vicinity of the court, I should say. But Ohio State against drop coverage, that's also why I really like this, because Wisconsin is very vulnerable with Crowell on the court. And as good as Wisconsin is, conversely, in the low post, Ohio State's post-up defense is above average. Now, I know shot quality has them due for a little bit of regression, but with Bradshaw back, and you have Sean Stewart and Bradshaw pairing up, probably splitting around 25 minutes each on the court. Now, obviously, you have flexible lineups in there. You're not getting 25 minutes each in a given college basketball game, but roughly 20 minutes each for those two transfer bigs. So I like the matchup for Ohio State down low. Now, Ohio State is vulnerable on the offensive glass. We saw them that come into play against Michigan State. Michigan State, one of the better second chance, or at least when it comes to opportunistic second chance shots, especially when you look at the Northwestern game yesterday or a couple days ago. I know we were both on Northwestern on Sunday, and their cold shooting really
great live bet, though. Great live bet. I hit my live bet, but that's it.
Pre-game, it was a good spot. Michigan State, you would think, and Spartan shot the lights out in the first half, and I liked your second half look too, because Northwestern, you look at the shooting split, similar to Alabama, Texas A&M over the weekend. Both teams were due for regression in the opposite direction, so I'm sure that's why shot quality had that one in favor of the Wildcats second half. But regardless, long story short, I like Ohio State. You may be looking towards Wisconsin. I would assume if Klesmit doesn't play, that would be your pull towards Wisconsin around 4.5.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, sometimes when players sit, I'm a little more timid with my plays, and I'll go live. And I'll keep my hunch in terms of like, okay, I have value on that side, and let's see how it starts out. And if they're developing the shot quality I want and taking like a lead on the SQ, maybe not in the actual game, and I have like the dual verification of I wanted it pregame, I was a little scared, now I have the backup of, all right, they're actually doing what I thought, I'll rip it. And I think that's honestly a really valuable way to play. I think I've honestly enjoyed that a lot, of like not only betting the teams I'm taking pregame before they start, but also betting them again live when they get down and getting an even better number against the close, because first 20 minutes of college basketball game, the game's either over or it doesn't matter. It's really a binary scenario.
And also, just when you look at the market, I expected it a little bit. Market has already bumped up Wisconsin to -5.5, -115. So if Klesmit doesn't play, we could see this number dip like we did with Wisconsin and Minnesota. Didn't matter. Wisconsin blew out Minnesota in the second half. But I am circling this spot for sure for Ohio State to keep this within a couple possessions. Love it even more if Klesmit doesn't suit up.